Shattered Reflections. Amara Chen stood frozen at the entrance of the Meridian Hotel ballroom, the champagne flute trembling in her hand. Across the room, her husband of 4 years, Reed Mitchell, had his arm draped possessively around Vivian Patel's waist, his marketing coordinator, her supposed friend. The annual Mitchell Media holiday party continued around her in a blur of festive music and laughter. 6 weeks separated but not yet divorced, and here he was, flaunting his affair in front of colleagues, clients, and friends they'd made together. "Breathe. Just breathe," Amara whispered to herself, smoothing the emerald silk of her dress. At 32, she hadn't expected to be starting over, certainly not like this. "You look like you could use something stronger than champagne," came a voice beside her. Diana Winters, Reed's own sister and Amara's closest friend since college, offered a glass of amber liquid. "He told me he was bringing a colleague, not that he was bringing her." Amara accepted the drink gratefully. Diana's eyes narrowed. "My brother is an idiot, always has been." Reed caught sight of Amara then, his expression flickering momentarily before he whispered something to Vivian. The younger woman glanced over, her lips curving into a triumphant smile before they both approached. "Amara, glad you could make it," Reed said stiffly. "You remember Vivian?" "Of course," Amara replied, her marketing executive poise kicking in. "Hard to forget someone who was in our home for dinner just 3 months ago." Vivian, 26 and draped in a designer dress that screamed expense account, gave a tinkling laugh. "Reed and I are just so grateful everyone's been so understanding about our connection. When love happens, it happens. Indeed. Especially when it happens in the supply closet during work hours," Diana muttered, causing Vivian's smile to falter. Reed cleared his throat. "Amara, we should discuss the house. I'm thinking of selling—" "Not tonight, Reed," Amara interrupted. "Your CFO is signaling you. Apparently, some things still require your attention." She turned away, head high, heart hammering. She hadn't expected the encounter to hurt this much. Later that night, in her new downtown apartment, Amara kicked off her heels and sank onto her sofa. The space was still half-furnished, boxes labeled "From Before" stacked neatly in corners. She opened her laptop, determination replacing the ache in her chest. She had been developing a business plan for months, her own marketing consultancy focusing on sustainable brands. Reed had called it a cute hobby when she'd mentioned it. Now it felt like her lifeline. "A new year, a new beginning," she whispered, fingers flying across the keyboard until dawn broke over the city skyline. By morning, Amara Chen Marketing Solutions had its first potential client meeting scheduled, and the woman behind it had finally fallen asleep with something she hadn't felt in months: hope. Chance encounters. 6 months later, Amara adjusted her navy blazer as she entered the Pacific Innovation Summit. Her consultancy had secured 3 clients, small but growing sustainable brands that appreciated her authentic approach. The conference represented potential connections she couldn't afford to miss. "Ms. Chen, your badge," the receptionist handed over her credentials. "The keynote begins in 20 minutes in the grand ballroom." Amara nodded, scanning the schedule. The keynote speaker, Gabriel Torres, was a tech investor known for backing environmentally conscious startups. She'd researched him thoroughly. 41, self-made billionaire, intensely private despite his success. Finding a seat near the front, Amara opened her tablet, reviewing notes on companies she hoped to connect with. She barely noticed when someone slid into the seat beside her until a deep voice interrupted her concentration. "Amara Chen Marketing Solutions. Interesting focus on sustainable brands." She looked up, startled to find Gabriel Torres himself studying her tablet screen. In person, his photographs didn't do him justice. Warm brown eyes, subtle silver at his temples, and an unexpected gentleness to his expression. "Mr. Torres, I thought you'd be backstage preparing." He smiled, creating lines around his eyes that suggested he laughed often. "Gabriel, please. And I find mingling with actual attendees more valuable than rehearsing words I've already written." "Amara," she offered. "And I agree. The best insights rarely come from behind podiums." Their conversation flowed easily, discussing industry trends until an assistant appeared to escort Gabriel away. Before leaving, he paused. "Would you join me for coffee after the keynote?" I'm interested in your perspective on conscious marketing. The keynote was brilliant. Gabriel spoke passionately about responsible innovation and authentic branding. Afterward, coffee extended into lunch, where Amara found herself sharing not just business philosophies, but personal stories. So your consultancy rose from the ashes of a difficult transition, Gabriel noted, after she'd carefully explained her recent career change without mentioning Reed. That's a poetic way of putting it, she smiled. But yes, sometimes endings make room for better beginnings. I know something about that, he said quietly. My first company failed spectacularly. My second wife left during the bankruptcy proceedings. His candor surprised her. Yet here you are. Here we both are, Gabriel corrected, raising his water glass in a small toast. As they parted, he handed her his private card. I have some connections that might benefit from your services. May I call you? That evening, as Amara entered her newly furnished apartment, now free of boxes, her phone chimed with a message from Gabriel, already connecting her with potential clients. She smiled, realizing she'd gone hours without thinking of Reed or the pain he'd caused. For the first time in nearly a year, Amara felt not just hopeful, but genuinely excited about possibilities, both professional and perhaps, if she dared admit it, personal as well. Full circle. The annual Innovation Impact Awards glittered with industry elites. Amara adjusted the amethyst pendant Gabriel had given her that morning. To match your eyes when they catch the light, he'd said, and squeezed his hand as they entered. A year since their first meeting, 8 months since she'd moved into his penthouse, and 3 months since his heartfelt proposal on a rain-swept balcony. Their engagement remained private knowledge, shared only with closest friends and family. Nervous? Gabriel murmured, noting her tension. A little, she admitted. It's not every day you announce a major business partnership alongside a personal one. Tonight would mark the public launch of their joint venture, the Torres Chen Foundation for Sustainable Innovation, providing grants and mentorship to environmentally conscious startups, a project born from their shared values and vision. Amara! Diana's voice cut through the crowd as she approached with her husband. You look stunning. Have you seen Reed? Diana whispered mischievously. He's by the bar, looking miserable. Vivian left him last month for some hedge fund manager. Amara frowned. I didn't know. Don't waste sympathy. He's been telling everyone your success is just because of your billionaire boyfriend. Gabriel rejoined them, handing Amara a sparkling water. Everything okay? Before she could respond, the lights dimmed, signaling the start of the ceremony. Their foundation announcement would come after the main awards. When the MC finally introduced them, Gabriel and Amara took the stage together. She felt a momentary flutter spotting Reed in the audience, his expression sour, but it faded as she focused on the faces of young entrepreneurs they'd be helping. The Torres Chen Foundation represents not just financial investment, but belief in innovation that serves humanity and our planet. Gabriel began, his voice steady and passionate. When her turn came, Amara spoke from the heart. Second chances aren't just for businesses, but for people. Sometimes the end of one chapter enables something far more meaningful to begin. As applause filled the hall, Gabriel subtly reached for her hand, the engagement ring catching the spotlight. A collective murmur rippled through the crowd as the diamond became visible. I suppose we should make this official too, Gabriel said into the microphone with a smile. Amara has agreed to be my partner in every sense of the word. The audience erupted in cheers and congratulations. Later, as they moved through the crowd accepting well wishes, Amara spotted Reed heading for the exit alone. Excuse me a moment, she told Gabriel, catching up to her ex-husband at the coat check. Congratulations, Reed said stiffly. You've done well for yourself. Reed, she said gently, success isn't about who you're with or what you have. It's about becoming who you're meant to be. He looked at her properly then, perhaps for the first time in years. I realize that now. Too late, obviously. It's Never too late to start over, she offered, thinking of her own journey. Trust me on that. Returning to Gabriel's side, Amara felt the last piece of her past finally settle into place. What had begun as heartbreak had transformed into something she could never have imagined, not just love and success, but a profound sense of purpose and partnership. As Gabriel drew her close, whispering, "Ready to go home?" against her temple, Amara smiled. This wasn't an ending at all, but rather the beginning of something authentic, meaningful, and entirely their own. New beginnings. Amara Chen Marketing Solutions secured the Evergreen account. Reed's voice carried across the crowded bar where former colleagues had gathered for happy hour. "That's a 7-figure client," Diana smirked, sipping her martini. 8 figures, actually. My dear ex-sister-in-law, is quite the rising star. Amara hadn't planned to attend the gathering, but Diana had insisted. "Show them who's thriving," she'd said. Now, wearing a simple purple silk blouse that brought out the warm undertones in her skin, Amara accepted congratulations graciously. Vivian clung to Reed's arm, her smile strained. How fortunate. Though I imagine having connections through Gabriel Torres opens many doors. Gabriel values substance over connections, Amara replied evenly, something not everyone appreciates. Over the past 3 months, her relationship with Gabriel had evolved from professional to personal. Their shared values and complementary personalities had created a foundation of trust that made her previous marriage seem shallow in comparison. Later that week, Gabriel surprised Amara at her office with lunch. "I wanted to see the Empire in action," he teased, admiring the sleek space she now shared with 3 employees. "Hardly an empire," she laughed, though pride colored her voice. "But it's growing faster than I expected." After her team left for the day, Gabriel pulled her into his arms. "I've missed you this week," he murmured against her hair. "You saw me Sunday," she reminded him, melting into his embrace nevertheless. 48. "Hours too long," he said, before kissing her with a tenderness that still surprised her. Their relationship had progressed. Naturally, dinners discussing business had gradually revealed personal histories. Gabriel's honesty about his past failures and his genuine interest in her ambitions had created a bond unlike anything she'd experienced with Reed. When Gabriel's hands slid beneath her blouse, tracing patterns across her skin, Amara sighed contentedly. "Not here," she whispered against his lips. "Then let me take you home," he replied, his eyes dark with desire. At her apartment, their connection deepened with each touch. Gabriel worshipped her body with patient reverence, discovering every sensitive spot that made her gasp. When they finally came together, Amara felt a completion that transcended physical pleasure, a recognition of finding someone who truly saw her. Afterward, lying in the moonlight filtering through her windows, Gabriel traced lazy circles on her back. "I never expected this," he admitted softly. "You've become essential to me, Amara." She propped herself up on an elbow, studying his face. "Are you saying that as my biggest client or as the man in my bed?" His laugh rumbled through his chest. "I'm saying it as someone falling in love with you." The words hung in the air between them, honest, unadorned, and terrifying in their simplicity. Amara felt tears gathering unexpectedly. "Too soon?" he asked gently. She shook her head. "Just right," she whispered, realizing the truth as she spoke. "Perfectly, wonderfully right." Part 4. Growing Hearts. The Forbes profile calls you the conscious capitalist's secret weapon. Gabriel read from his tablet, pride evident in his voice as they shared breakfast on his penthouse terrace. "Not so secret anymore." Amara smiled, watching sunrise colors paint the city skyline. The journalist was very thorough. "I'm surprised she didn't mention us." "I may have requested they focus solely on your professional accomplishments," Gabriel admitted, reaching for her hand. "Your success is yours alone." "And yet you're a part of it," she countered softly. 6 months into their relationship, they had settled into a comfortable rhythm. Gabriel respected her independence while offering support that never felt controlling. Weekend mornings at his place, weeknights at hers, their lives intertwining naturally. Later that day, while presenting to potential investors for her expanding agency, Amara spotted a familiar face entering the conference room late. Reed, looking uncomfortable as he slid into a back row seat. She continued without missing a beat, outlining her vision for conscious marketing in the digital age. When the presentation concluded to enthusiastic applause, Reed approached awkwardly. "Impressive work," he offered. "My new firm is considering similar services. I thought I should see what the competition offers." "We're hardly competition, Reed," Amara replied coolly. "Different approaches, different values." His expression tightened. "Vivian and I saw you with Torres at the charity gala last month." "Quite the upgrade." "Gabriel isn't an upgrade. Reed, he's a partner, something you never understood." That evening, recounting the encounter to Gabriel as they prepared dinner together in his kitchen, Amara realized how truly she'd moved beyond the hurt. "Does it bother you seeing him?" Gabriel asked, handing her a glass of wine. "Not anymore," she answered honestly. "It just feels distant, like a different lifetime." Gabriel set down his knife, turning to face her fully. "Move in with me," he said suddenly. Amara blinked in surprise. "What?" "I want to wake up with you every morning," he explained, taking her hands. "I want this, us cooking together, talking about our days, to be our normal." She hesitated. "My independence is important to me." "And it's one of the things I love most about you," he assured her. "I'm not asking you to lose yourself in me, Amara. I'm asking if we can build something together while remaining exactly who we are." That night, their lovemaking held a new intensity. Gabriel's hands explored her body with familiar devotion, but also with a possessiveness that thrilled her. When she arched beneath him, calling his name, the emotional connection magnified every physical sensation. Afterward, tracing the planes of his chest, Amara made her decision. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes?" He looked down at her questioningly. "Yes to moving in. Yes to building something together." His smile illuminated the darkness. "I was thinking we might build something even more permanent," he said quietly, reaching toward the nightstand drawer.